What are like the things you were noticing in your life that you were like, maybe there's something going on here which is beyond just like my personality? Like, what were the symptoms?
Oh my God. So I actually never even thought I had ADHD. I just knew that something wasn't quite. I think it was more that I would question why I would act the way I acted, or like why I would struggle with certain things and why no one else seemed to have those issues.
Right.
Particularly like in school, at work, concentration was one of them. I always used to get called a chatterbox at school, always. And I always remember during lessons and all meetings, literally wanting to climb the walls when it was almost, like you weren't the one talking. So it was like someone talking at you, whether it was a teacher with a whiteboard in front of you, teaching you something, and you just had to sit there and absorb it, or you'd have to sit like in exams, or you're in a meeting and someone was presenting something for 45 minutes straight. I felt like I needed to scream.
Really?
Those were the things I'd really struggle with. Concentration and just staying focused on one thing. Always feeling like I couldn't stick to something. That was, when I got diagnosed, that was so validating because it was something I was so aware of. And then my mum had always said to me, oh, you always, not in like it wasn't in a bad way, it wasn't an insult or anything, it was more like an observation. My mum would always say, oh, you never finish anything, or like you pick something up and you kind of drop it. And I think it became an insecurity of mine, just because I hated that I would never finish anything. So there were things like this that I was hyper aware of, but didn't understand why no one else seemed to like have that issue.
Did you like internalize it and think it, like, what did you think about yourself before you had your diagnosis? Did you think they were just personality traits?
Yeah, I thought they were personality traits. I remember when during school exams, I would never study ever. Like I'd study like the day before. And I don't know how I got grades that I did. Like I was a wing it girl. Like always, even now, like even if I had to, I don't prepare for meetings, really. I don't prepare for interviews. Like I find that if I prepare, I overthink everything. So for me, it feels better to not. And I just can't, the time thing doesn't work for me, as in like being prepared in advance. Like that doesn't work. So I'm all very, like, it's all very last minute. Like the panic, I thrive off of that stress.
Okay.
So it just, it's almost like that condensed time period of like performing works better for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it does. And I actually believe in myself in terms of like showing up. Like I feel like I can blag
You're
stuff.
like, I'm not going to fluff it. I know it's in there.
Yeah.
I just don't want to list it all out in an order of how I'm going to talk about this thing.
Yeah. I think I'll overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What led you to getting diagnosed?
It was, when was it? Must have been like 2020. When did I get diagnosed? 2022 I got diagnosed. I think it was like 20.
So how old were you then?
So I was 31, so it's 2021. And I think this is when things started to come up a lot on TikTok.
Yeah. ADHD had its moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was right at the beginning, I would say. And I remember seeing those videos all the time, like the ADHD ones. I didn't pay any attention to them for so long. I was like, it just so unrelated to me. Like I think I had, much like a lot of people, you have this preconception of what ADHD is.
Yep.
And it is always usually associated to the behaviour that we see in boys.
Yeah, it's very much interesting. Actually, I was looking it up and it said boys are 2 to 3 times more likely to be diagnosed as kids because the expression of the condition is really, really different. So they're often like disruptive and stuff, and therefore people notice and they're like, something might be up with this kid, he might need a hand.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and often categorized as like naughty and loud and boisterous and hyper. Yeah, and although obviously I think any kid at that age is a bit like hyper, I never saw myself as like those things. Like I was never really naughty or couldn't sit still and was hyper and had loads of energy. Like it wasn't like that. So when the videos started coming out online of women being undiagnosed and people were talking about ADHD, I ignored them for so long. Like I just, like just so unrelated to me, just swipe past it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what made me stop on that particular video, but I stopped. And I was like, oh, that sounds like me. These sound like the things that I've struggled with like my entire life. And I just started paying attention more and more and more. And I was like, shit, like this sounds like me. And it's all things that I'd internalized for my entire life and just thought, oh, there's just something a bit wrong with me or like not right. But I never really thought that it was related to like a condition. Like I said, I just thought it was me.
Just who you are.
Yeah, because I used to always think, why is no one else struggling in meetings? Like I was literally like, my eyes would be like darting around the room. Or another thing that I used to fidget so much. And this was a comment made by my family, the whole, like always. Because no one wanted to sit next to me on long haul flights. We used to go to Florida every summer. And no one would want to sit next to me.
Right.
Because I was the fidget.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like these are just, I just thought they were me. There's just so many things. And then I was like, oh, actually, I think this is actually the thing that I've been, like, these are the things I've really struggled with. So then I pushed to kind of get a diagnosis.
Did you go through just GP?
Went through the GP, but it was before, I think, I had to wait a while. But I think it was before the influx that's now happened, where like the waiting lists are like super long. It's a super long process to get diagnosed. And I think you almost have to like jump through hoops to get a diagnosis.
Right.
Like I'm now speaking to people who their parents are getting interviewed or like spoken to by like health professionals.
As adults?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah. That guy I dated, I think he said his parents or his mum got like had to be spoken to by a health professional, which again, like super interesting. I didn't have that. I did have quite an intense assessment with a psychologist.
Yeah.
It was like maybe like 90 minutes to 2 hours. And obviously prior to that, I'd had an assessment on the phone with my GP, but it was all like virtual. And then I got diagnosed and I was like, wow, this explains everything.
Yeah.
And then once I got diagnosed, I then knew that my dad had it.
Right.
Because of the way that he is. And then obviously I got obsessed, like so ADHD.
Diagnosing people left, right and centre.
Yeah, diagnosing people left, right and centre and hyper-focused on the topic of ADHD.
Right.
So ADHD.